When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and I'm here not only with a member of the Leap community, but a good friend of mine that I have had the pleasure of getting to know over the past couple of years. And then she left me. She moved from Arizona and went to Florida, but she went to be closer to her family and her grandkids. And I understand that because I would do the same thing if I wasn't married. JaRee Bowers is here. Many of you already know her. She's part of the community and you've seen her around. But today we're diving into one of my favorite money talks. And everyone knows I love to talk about money because it's something we should not be ashamed to talk about at all, because the Bible is riddled with God wanting us to have riches, not after, but here on earth as well, right? So not just after, but here on earth as well. So zero loss strategies, what does that mean to you? If I said zero loss strategies for investing, you would think, okay, that means if I invest my money, I'm not going to lose any money. I'm only going to gain. Ding, ding, ding. That's right. So that's what JaRee and I are going to get into talking about today. But before I do that, I must thank our sponsor of today's show, Peaceful Living. Why do we allow stress to compound in our lives, affecting our sleep and our daily rituals? Why do we do that? The truth is, we all live with stress, but imagine what it would be like to not suffer from stress. Are you ready to feel better, sleep better, and change your overall relationship with tension? Peaceful Living can help you bring more peaceful moments into your day. Peaceful Living offers simple tools, live stream and on-demand classes, and a customized self-care success plan. Imagine if you had simple ways to slow down and restore your energy without taking big chunks of time away from your schedule. We know it's possible. We're here to help. And the founder, Roberta Hughes, will be your guide each step of the way. Visit Peaceful Living at her link here to begin your journey with a free membership, and the link will be available for you here at your fingertips. And if you use the code LEAP, you receive your first month for free, and you can also go to peacefulliving.com. That's with 2 L's. Roberta Hughes is amazing. She has over 200 videos online, and my husband and I have done her Pilates challenge. She's just so good about teaching how to take care of your health and your body, and stretching and meditation. And there's so many amazing things that we need to not just take care of our money, we need to take care of our bodies. Because then when our bodies are no longer able to maintain themselves here on this earth physically, where's your money going to be? Maybe we should talk about that. Where is your money going to be? So let me introduce our guest of today's show. Such an amazing friend of mine. I just love her so much. JaRee Bowers is a serial entrepreneur, having owned many very successful businesses ranging from network marketing to painting and construction to a Dairy Queen franchise. I did not know that. How did I not know that? And also a health and wellness surgical stainless steel cookware company. You crack me up, girl. You've owned so many companies. In every one of her prior businesses, JaRee has found that her clients had a lack of knowledge when it came to money, making it, saving it, and investing it. So when asked about their investments, most reacted with fear and anxiety around the topic of money. JaRee discovered that money was a primary focus in their lives. Money's the primary focus in everybody's lives. Either the love of, or most often the lack of money, was top of mind for everybody she met. So JaRee heard this message loud and clear and decided to build her next business, which is what she does today, around educating people about the little known money principles of the wealthy and bring clarity and confidence where before there was confusion and guilt. JaRee currently owns her own company, My Freedom First, which is putting your freedom first, partnering with Five Rings Financial, which has broken the traditional mold of the financial industry. Working with JaRee, you'll build a financial foundation of zero loss and protect your money and yourself against financial ruin. Her main focus here is just to educate everyone on how to use money as a tool for your future and begin to sleep well at night. Look at that. Our sponsor just talked about sleeping well. And it's stress, just what we talked about. It's the stress. And most of the time, it's because we don't have the education or the knowledge to know what to do with our money so that we can be safe when something happens. And JaRee, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Colleen. I'm so grateful to be here. I love that I get to do these wonderful things with you. And I'm grateful that I got to meet you.
Yeah.
You're one of my favorite people too.
It's so
I'm
much
sorry
fun.
that I moved away, but I'm glad that I moved away. And then I'm sorry that I moved away. I wish
That's okay. I get to see you in July, so I'm okay
That's
with that.
right.
So JaRee, I want to just quickly share my story. I knew JaRee for months, and I saw JaRee at first like any other financial planner that had been in my circle. So I meet a lot of women that do financial planning and financial planners that I've worked with in the past always focus on retirement. That's what they've always focused on with me, which is, what are you going to do when you retire? How much money do you have if you were to die tomorrow and you're going to leave money to someone? How much debt do you have? That's what they've always focused on. Well, my husband and I were so confused by all of that because we don't ever plan on retiring. Retiring is something very different today than I think it was 30 years ago. And my husband and I just visited an RV place up north, and we took our trailer up there, and I would never recommend this RV place. That's why we were scoping out some other ones. There were a lot of retired individuals living in this RV park. And my husband looked around and he looked at me and he said, "Don't ever worry about me that I work too hard, because we build a lot of businesses simultaneously." He said, "Worry about me if I want to retire to an RV park." And I just kind of laughed. And he said, "I don't think I ever want to retire. Like, what if they're doing nothing?" And most of the time they would just go in their house, watch TV, come out, maybe sit on the patio. And so the reason why I'm sharing this is because we need to think about it's not about what happens always when I die. A lot of it is what happens when I'm still alive.
Yes.
Where does my money go? What happens if I just get sick temporarily and I'm the main person that runs my business? Do I have a strategy of others that can step up? And do I have a way to gain income? Is it passive, or is it by my accord of having to work that money comes in? What happens if I get sick or don't have that for, maybe it's just an accident and you get in a car accident, you don't have it for a little while. That's what I love about what JaRee does, because the zero loss strategy is in every areas of how you invest your money from now until further, even after you're dead. Right. Yeah. So let's talk about that, because you got into this because you were running these businesses, and so many people, they just struggle with what to do with money. They need it. We all need it to survive. We literally do, unless you live off the land as a nomad somewhere and live off of other people. We all need money to survive, to pay a rent or a mortgage or clothes or food, whatever it is, right? The basics. Right. The basics.
Right, absolutely. And here's the biggest part is understanding what zero loss means. Mm-hmm. And that does not mean just that you're making up for loss if your money's in the market. It means I don't need to think about losing my house whenever there's an accident that took place. And I love how you brought that up, because the package part of your life has to fit all the details of your life. And most financial advisors, like you said, they're just, they'll confuse you with the details and diversification and all those things that really don't make a lot of sense to the average person. And therefore you just walk out of the office going, I hope I chose the right one.
Yeah.
But when it comes to zero loss, Colleen, that means building a foundation that is solid of your money. Okay. So building off of the solid foundation around your home. Well, how do you do that? You invest in strategies of never losing another dollar, but yet getting the upside of the market. You also get this education that I love to give that's tax-free retirement. Well, what does that mean? If we're in a space now where people are not retiring like you and your husband and myself, because we love what we do, what that means is we're not going to pay a ton of taxes if we set up our plan correctly, which everyone loves to hear about and wants more of, right? Nobody wants to pay taxes. Like that's terrible. And they get too much anyways, right?
Right.
And at the same time, if there is an accident, who's going to pay your bills? Who's going to pay the mortgage? Who's going to pay for groceries?
Yeah.
That's where I come in as well, because living benefits is for living right now.
Yeah.
And it's not.
I didn't know what that was. Like, honestly, the only thing I could remember was when I was in corporate America. And this goes to my lack of knowledge of understanding this, which I guarantee 80% of you out there right now are like, yeah, I don't have the knowledge of what she's talking about here because I've never sat down with anyone to understand it, because you hear financial planner and you scream and run the other way. Like, I don't need anyone to tell me what to do with my money anymore, for when I retire, because it's always the same, every single person that talks to you. That's why, well, there's two reasons why you're different. And everyone's going to have to just hold on to that and be on a cliff waiting for me to tell you why you're so different than everybody else. But for me, it was like, oh, they would say you could have gap insurance, right? Like if you buy a car and then you have this insurance where if you were to get hurt or couldn't pay, there's a gap that would make up for that. Or if you had to be out of work for 6 months, like temporary medical leave or something, there was like a gap that would fill in. That's what I thought you were talking about when you said living benefits. I didn't really understand what that was. And then when JaRee explained it to me, how I could get paid what I'm making now if I were to get hurt or be injured temporarily or something like that happen. And then I thought, well, I never thought about that. What would happen if tomorrow I have an accident and I'm in the hospital, or I have to go through recovery, and it could be someone else's fault. Someone could T-bone me in in an intersection, and then I'm in the hospital learning how to walk for 4 months again because my hips are broken and my legs are broken, or who knows, right? You don't know what could happen as an accident. And that could just be me literally going a mile away to go to the grocery store, and that could happen. How are my bills paid? Is everything taken care of in my business? How are my employees paid? How are things going to continue to run when I'm taking care of myself? And the number one thing I think people worry about is money. And they're going to take less care or less physical therapy because
they start making compromises.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Not what we are supposed to do. We should not then just start gathering fear. Because what does fear do? Fear promotes the disease or the recovery process. It takes longer to get recovered because you're scared, because you're trying to make up for all the loss that you're experiencing right now. Well, when it's living benefits, let's just say that you have $1 million policy, it's term life. You do not have to die to use. That's what it means. So let's say you have $1 million policy connected to your portfolio, your plan, and something like that happens, like the accident down the street. Well, now you're able to access up to 75, maybe 90% of that $1 million right now, Colleen.
Yeah.
That's going into your bank account, and nobody's going to tell you what to pay, how to spend it, what to do with it. Nobody. So yeah, your employees can be paid. Your business can still continue to go as if you weren't there. Your mortgage can be paid off. All kinds of things can happen. And what is going to happen to you? It removes the stress.
Yeah, it
Takes the
does.
stress valve right out, because now you're not scrambling trying to figure out how to survive. Most people, and insurance is not one of the top things you think about
No.
when it comes to money. But guess what?
Yeah.
This one is the only one that is literally going to not only save your money, but your life. So we're talking about your life right now, and paying everything that nobody even considers, and definitely not going into foreclosure. But what's the other side? If you have a real, pile of money set up, and you have been working your tail off for years, and you've got the 401k and the IRAs and all these things, and you're just, set up for life, you think it's going to be great, and you're going to be a multimillionaire one day with those investments. Well, then when something tragic happens, what's the first thing that happens? You start taking that money to survive. Living benefits protects you from losing your nest egg you've built your whole life, because you're utilizing that. You're not taking from anything that you've worked so hard for. What? Is that real? Of course it is.
It is real.
But we don't know. We don't
Right.
know. We don't know. And that's why education is so important.
It really is. And I do think that there are other individuals out there that are working, like financial planners that are working with other type of portfolios, and it's not the same. And so I said there were two reasons. And one thing is exactly what we just shared. And why I love what JaRee does is because she's looking out for your best interest. It's not about her commission. She's looking at, what do you do for a living? How is your house structured? How is your family structured? How old are you? What are your plans? What does your whole life look like? It's not really about, oh, you don't have a life insurance plan. Oh, we need to get you one of those. Oh, we need to get you one of those. And you've got to have one of these. And when, by the way, if you get one of those, we'll throw in one of these. It's not like that with JaRee. She's going to look at what's best for you, because she knows that the more peace of mind you have, the easier it's going to be for you to not worry or be at peace, right? My husband and I were actually hiking, up in the mountains last weekend, and talked about, he said, what would you do if I pass away? And I said, well, I don't know why we're talking about that, so let's not talk about that. That makes me very sad. But he's like, are you going to pay off our house? I'm like, well, of course I will. And then I probably will sell it because I don't want to live there anymore. Like, I don't know what I would do. I have no idea. Like, you can't ask me those questions. And here's the other thing that we didn't even touch on, was that when I couldn't even talk to him about it, because I was getting visibly and physically upset thinking about that day. If that ever happens, right? Imagine if that day happened. I'm probably going to be pretty distraught for a long time. So the last thing you're thinking about is, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How much money do I have? How do I cover the bills? Like we were just talking about if you get sick or something happens, but what if literally a spouse passes away, and then now you're dealing with the family and the grief, and the last thing you want to do is sit there and think, oh my gosh, did someone pay my electric bill this month? And worry about, do I have the money to pay for that? So these are bigger life things that are going to happen, because we are dying, like that we're heading toward that. Every single one of us are going to die at an age. We don't know when that age is, but we are all going to die eventually. So what happens then? And this is the other platform that JaRee and I connect very heavily on, is that we both have faith in God. We both have faith in Heavenly Father, and we both have faith in the guidance on where He provides for us today and guides for us today, as well as where we will be guided afterwards. Yes. And so there is preparation that is happening on this earth today for the second coming. There's preparation that's happening today for our afterlife. There's a lot of prep happening. And many women that I talk to are being called to lead for a reason. And I don't know if I'm being prepped because I'm needed 50 years from now, 100 years from now, I'm needed 10 years from now. And JaRee's being called to do the same thing. And it's loud. The calling is loud.
Yes.
And what is that, JaRee?
The calling is to share what storing up for your children means, what multiplying your talents means, how to put the Father first in everything you do. And again, that takes that stress valve off, because you're not trying to do it for yourself. You're not trying to get and trying to force. You're literally understanding that there's a way to just simply work in his plan. So focusing on the biblical principles of how money works, and how do I store up for my children's children, and how do I multiply my talents? Well, it's not just in money. It's in the things that we teach them, that we educate them with, the knowledge and the wisdom that they have of who the Father really is and what he really wants for our lives. And they go hand in hand, because if you are learning the correct principles of storing up your money and using it to grow, using it as a tool to grow and give generational wealth in the money side of it, you are also building generational wealth in your wisdom and knowledge of the Father and what your purpose is. So if you can just look at it like, instead of putting yourself in a box like every other financial advisor wants to do and just giving you allocation and that's it, and literally break that box open and say, okay, wait a minute. If I take care of all the money that I needed to, so that I will never run out of money again, and that is what I focus on a lot of, because women are really focused on, I never want to run out of money. I don't want to think about it. If those things are addressed, then you can live in the purpose that the Father's given you, because you have peace and joy. You're not worried about money. You're not worried about life. That's incredible.
So I have a $100 bill here in front of me, and something I want to share, because we all know that faith is being removed from everything and everywhere. I mean, schools and just everywhere. I was shocked when I went to all of these graduations for my tiny little grandkids that they don't do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, my
Wow,
grandkids don't know the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah. So they didn't do it at some of the, the events that I thought they would do it at. And I went to one high school graduation last year that it was huge. And we sang the national anthem, but then I don't think they planned on doing the Pledge of Allegiance, but everybody in the audience just started it. And then everyone it started, and then they just stood there, and then everyone started putting their hands over their hearts and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And I think that it would have been looked over. But in the back of this $100 bill, it says, "In God we trust." On money.
So think about that. If you are sowing seeds of wisdom and understanding of the Father, and you are sowing good seeds with the first fruits of your money, your income, the wealth that you receive, that is going to bring forth that abundance that you get to live in. Instead of being focused on stress and I've got to get more and get more and get more just to pay and survive, it takes you out of that survival mode and puts you into peace. You're in a peace of mind. You know that you're taken care of. You know that no matter what happens, if it's an accident, a terminal, or something's going on out there in the market, you've built your foundation correctly. Then you are giving to that generational wealth principle of storing up for your children's children. You know that you are sowing the right seeds. You're building it correctly. And if you're a good steward with your money, what do you think he's going to say?
I'm so glad you said that, because it is not our money.
No, it
We
is
are
not
stewards
ours.
of his money.
Correct.
So for us to think that we control it is really kind of
That is the
ridiculous.
get. It's the, oh, I got to get it.
Yeah.
It's the go to work, put your head
The
down.
hustle. It's all
Hustle.
me, my
Yes.
brain. I make it all happen. And I'm like, well, I know I don't make it all happen. I know I take the action, but I will tell you, my inspiration is not coming from whatever synapses that's happening in my brain. It's because that's what I felt, or it's what I downloaded, or it's what I was given as a gift to then utilize while I'm here on this earth.
Well, and if you're being a good steward and if you know the money principles that you need to know, which is again why I educate first, I totally break the mold being a financial traditional person, right? Because I want you to know everything that you should know.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, you understand that, hey, I have protected everything. I have sown good seeds. I am leading my life in being a good steward because everything is his. The very breath we breathe is his.
Yeah.
This life that we get to lead is his.
Yeah.
If everything belongs to him, then he's just watching what you're doing with it. And that's the part we need to take care of.
Yeah, I'm shocked I'm shocked at two things. One, how many people don't save or invest in themselves, like we just talked about, right? For living benefits, or if anything were to happen, anything, right? Invest in something that's going to allow them to, if they want to retire or whatever it is, or when they can't work, have money that's going to be coming in, however that looks. And the other piece that shocks me is how many people don't give back. Yes. Like the cardinal rule of, God's rule, right? So as we expand in love and success and money, we expand and give back. That's 10% is what you need to be giving back. And I'm shocked at how many, I know my husband, I give more than that, because personally in our personal account, we give 10% back to faith. But then in our own accounts in business, we also donate generously to causes that we both have that we donate to every month. Right. And so I know we give more than that, but the thought, here's something I want each one of you to think about. Do you have a thought in your head that says, I can't afford it? Because it's not about affording it. It's about investing the money, because it will always come back to you tenfold in every area of your life. Yes. There's never been a time when I haven't paid the 10% and it not fortify and make my life better for giving money to other people. And it's a lot of money. 10% is a lot of money.
And, well, it's honest. If you want to be really honest about that, Colleen, it's based out of fear.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody's trying to hold because it's all they have. And oh my gosh, I just don't know. And that's all fear.
Yeah.
And fear is not what the Father has for us.
No, you have to trust.
That's
you have
the
to
other
faith.
guy's story, right? The other guy's story is telling us to be a scared, afraid person.
That's right. That's the adversary. And, what makes JaRee so different is that she follows her promptings through her faith of what the plan is from the Father above and what we need to do to prepare now. Yeah. So when someone is guided that way, how could you not trust them? Like I trust JaRee 1,000% because she's guided that way. Because I know it's not her brain that is just making decisions for me. She's feeling it. She's being led. She's being guided. She's being prompted, not knowing what my future path is going to be, because she's not a storyteller. She can't see into the future. She's not a psychic, right? She's being guided to do certain things for me. So that it will play out for my plan. And that's all she needs to know. It's all she needs to know for you as well, because we can't tell what the future holds. But I mean, I couldn't imagine trusting any other person out there other than you to guide me on where I put my money, right? And how I become a steward of that now. And so I think it's important that that piece is shared because you're being guided, and he's screaming loud at you to get louder. And that's why JaRee's here today. She said, okay, I hear you, Father. I'm going to get on more podcasts. I'm going to be on more radio shows. I'm going to get more interviews. I'm going to speak more about what I'm doing and how I can assist other people. And I think that's important for us to listen and be guided, and then not just shove it in the closet and say, okay, God, I'm listening to you, and I'm going to do it in silence.
We have to. And because why? That's multiplying our talents.
Yeah.
And shame on me if I bury mine in the sand.
Yeah.
You know, that's not who I'm made to be. And I need to share this gift and the blessing that I know is true.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important, because we all get to, you know, if you take the time to step outside of your picture frame and say, okay, what is my purpose? Now I'm going to be sharing it. So yes, it's vital. It's absolutely vital that I share as much as I know, and from my heart, and the truth of who I am. I believe that 1,000,000%. And there's no way I'm going to step outside of what he has planned. I don't want to answer to that. I don't know about all of you, but I know I don't want to stand before him and answer for not doing my part.
Right.
For not sharing my talent.
Now you offer Wine, Women, and Wealth events, education, as well as Money 101. Did you want to talk about those?
Yes, I offer those events. So Wine, Women, and Wealth is just simply take the pressure valve off, relax. Nobody's going to take your financial information and run. Right? And you get to learn the money principles that none of us were ever taught, that the wealthy were given, you know, from day one. And at the same time, you get to network. And I love that because women are helping women. We're all building each other. We're sharing and being a blessing to each other. And then Money 101 is about the broad spectrum of how to build your foundation. What does it look like? And that branches off into infinite banking and $1 Million Baby and all of the Money Mommy and Me and all of these classes that we promote as a business. Okay, so I promote all of those classes because there should be a free education when it comes to money.
Yeah.
And I
There's
get
not.
to, and I get to speak.
You have to read books, right? Like you have to go read a book that any wealthy billionaire wrote, and they will tell you how they did it, or, their principles on it. But most of them don't share the secrets behind a lot of that. And I love that you share the secrets of the wealthy, because how do they build and have all these assets and pay less taxes than I do? Right? How am I paying more tax? All of the money and the taxes come from the middle class, right? So
that's right.
How is that happening? And you don't ever get a true answer from anyone. So I love that you educate on that to help us understand how to do that better. So there is Wine, Women, and Wealth. You do them how often? Do you do them monthly or?
I do Wine, Women, and Wealth twice a month. So bi-monthly.
Okay.
So it's every second and fourth Wednesday of the month.
Okay. And they would be able to go to your website or connect with you on LinkedIn to find those events. Absolutely. Okay, good. Because based on when you hear this podcast, it might be the day we release it, a month after we release it, year after we release it. I want them to be able to connect with you on LinkedIn and go to JaRee Bowers. That's JaRee Bowers, Bowers. It's going to be there at your fingertips. You can click on it, but connect with her, and then you can see how often she has these, and you can attend these as well. If you know that you are a steward of God's money, if you know that he's going to be coming again, if you know that this is a blip of our life, that we're here on this earth, and you want to work with someone who has those same beliefs as you in faith, then it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
You know, for JaRee Bowers to be your guide, because she's being guided.
Yes. I don't believe anybody fits in the box, Colleen.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to get in traditional finance or
Yeah.
financial advisors, people, whatever. You're going to get shoved into a system.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I believe that it has to be led and directed by the Father, because if it's not, you're just throwing it at the wall, hoping it sticks,
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. And you're not going to be successful if that's the plan. So everybody's plan is different. It should be built different. It should be built on what your future is, not what my idea your future is.
Right.
What your future really is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I don't know about you, but or those that are listening, but there was a time, if y'all remember, in the last couple of years where you lost a lot of money in the stock market, and it really hasn't recovered. I zipped my money out of there as fast as I could when JaRee and I met and started talking. My husband did the same. We actually, we bought a business with some of our investments, and we were just getting smart on where we put things and how we invest. And it all started with the education that JaRee gave us, which I'm so thankful for, because it's going to change and create that legacy for our family, and that generational wealth that I don't think without the education or the knowledge, because I had a gap there, that I would have known what to do. And we're not done. I mean, we've got more investing to do. Yeah, we're just getting started. But you look at things differently. A lens changes when you have knowledge. And, it's no different than my business coaching and working with someone. And once you have a clarity and a plan and a strategic approach, and you're consistent, that success is easy because you have the clarity and the knowledge now that you didn't have before. And that's what it really supplies for individuals. Right. And
that comes back to your question of, well, how does the wealthy keep getting wealthier, and how do they not pay taxes and all that? It's the education.
Yeah.
They've been given since they were born, and it's been passed down generations. And they don't use the nest egg they've built. They use the other vehicles to their advantage. And that's how their legacy continues to grow.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So when you
learn that, it's like priceless. You're not going back to the old way.
When you hear the government talk about, the wealthy should be paying more tax, I laugh, because I'm like, good luck, because you're never going to get them to. So that's for the middle class to be all freaked out saying, yeah, the wealthy should pay more, but they're preying on the middle class the entire
They
time.
are.
It's just
they are, and that's the way it's been set up.
All the taxes.
All the taxes.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's right.
You're right.
So it's time to set up the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
And say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's an education. You got to get the education. And it's free.
Yeah.
It's a free education. I don't charge intentionally, because there's no time to charge.
Yeah.
And just wait till somebody wants to pay for this priceless education. It's get it now. Apply it now. If you don't choose to work with me, okay, but guess what? I've sown the seeds that are going to benefit you. And that gives me peace. Yeah. That's where my joy comes.
Yeah. It's what your work
when
is.
You work with me, and I believe you will, it'll be like night and day.
Yeah.
It's okay, but yeah.
I'm the same way. If I inspire someone to take action, then I've done what I was here to do. And that's great. Right. I love it.
And so you can do that when you're not in a get mentality.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true. So you can find JaRee at myfreedomfirst.live, on LinkedIn at JaRee Bowers, and on Facebook at JaRee Bowers. And you'll be able to see all of her events. My high suggestion is you reach out to her, but if you don't even want to do that, at least attend one, anonymously attend one of her sessions, so you can get the knowledge that you need to start planting those seeds So you can understand that it doesn't take $1 million to be able to start having a zero loss strategy for investing. It literally takes pennies a day for you to start doing this, period. And I don't know why people think it costs so much money. And by the way, the longer you wait, the more it does cost and will cost you. And that was why when I was raising my kids, I was talking to them about investing for what I knew as soon as possible. Like, start investing now. Don't wait. Because if I could go back and talk to my 20-year-old self, I would have told myself how to invest and I would have been a billionaire by now and I'd be done. Right. So I didn't have that knowledge. And that is the one thing I would change about going back and telling myself. When people ask, what would you go back and tell yourself? And it's like, to be confident, to know you can do it. I'm like, no, invest, and invest more.
Right. And the beautiful part is you can start anywhere, Colleen. I love that you brought that up at the very end, because it's like, I don't care if you have $100 for multiple millions. I work with everyone.
That's right. Yeah.
And then we build the ladder of success the way you need it built. And that's priceless.
It's so true. And I've read books and have watched people start with 25 cents a day or $1 or whatever it may be. And it builds up really, really quick. You would be shocked. So you're not exempt from this at all, right? You're all included. So JaRee, again, one of my favorite people. Now you can all see why, because she has such a lovely heart and spirit, and zero loss strategy is a real thing. And so the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be and the less you're going to have and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know why anyone wouldn't just start today, at least to find out what is a good strategy for me to get started, right? What is the first step I take? And if you heard my last episode 110, we talked about taking action. Just take action, just move your feet, just do something, and that will produce consistency. And then once you've been doing it consistent, it becomes a lot easier. So JaRee, thanks so much for being here. And just remember, to all the listeners out there, you're the only you that's ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. That's it. You don't transfer into someone else's body. None of that happens. And we have a blip of time here and we don't know when it's over. So because we don't know that, prepare today. Give generously. Please give generously to others. I don't know why that's such a hard thing for people to understand. I promise it will come back to you in so many ways. You just will be amazed.
It's amazing. Just walk away from fear. Walk away from the fear. Start giving, and you'll be amazed.
My fear is face everything and rise. So that's what my fear is. So just face it, rise, and along the way, get some knowledge and learn how you can be a good steward of the money that has been given to you throughout your lifetime. So JaRee, thank you again for being here. And to all of you, remember, until next time, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Colleen.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.